Okay, so organ systems. Digestion. The important molecules in digestion is it's essential for energy. It always contains CHO and sometimes N, so carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and sometimes nitrogen. Carbohydrates. Uh, they go from polysaccharides to disaccharides to monosaccharides in the digestion process. Poly is glycogen, so human, cellulose, and chitin. Di is maltose, sucrose, and lactose. And mono is glucose, fructose, and galactose. Lipids are fats and phospholipids and steroids. Glycogen is the main storage for humans. Long-term storage is not easily broken down. Unsaturated fatty acids have one or more double bonds between carbon atoms. Fatty acids have carboxyl group at the end. Proteins are essential to the life process. And there are 8 essential amino acids that the body can't synthesize. The mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, liver, and gallbladder, small intestine, pancreas, large intestine, and rectum and anus are the organ thingies in the digestion system. There's ingestion, digestion, absorption, and egestion. Food moves down the esophagus from peristalsis as a bolus. Taste only detected once saliva dissolves food. Teeth aid in physically breaking down the food. The cardiac sphincter is the first sphincter, and the pyloric sphincter is the second. The liver produces bile, which helps to physically break down fats. Gallbladder stores and releases fats. The pancreas creates most chemicals used in the small intestine. pH in the stomach is usually between 2 and 3. Stomach fluids is composed of pepsin, mucus, and hydrochloric acid, so HCI or HC1 or L. Small intestine doesn't have mucus lining, so if the HCl gets in, prosecretin turns to secretin and goes through the blood to make the pancreas produce bicarbonate to neutralize the acid. The villi increase absorption, and they have arteries and veins and lymph vessels. For breaking down nutrients, the amylase, so the mouth breaks down starches. Amylase is like saliva, and it's in the mouth, and it starts to break down starches. Pepsin is in the stomach, and it's activated form of pepsinogen because the HCl in the stomach activates it. So it takes long chain amino acids and breaks them down into polypeptides. Trypsin is found in the duodenum. It's the activated form of trypsinogen because enchroneasis breaks. It's activated because of enchroneasis. It breaks down polypeptides into short chain peptides. And then epipsin is also in the duodenum. It breaks down short chain peptides into individual amino acids. And lipase is from the pancreas. It makes lipids to glycerol and fatty acids. And phospholipates takes phospholipids to glycerol and fatty acids. Pancreatic amylase is in the duodenum, and it changes starch to maltose. And maltase is in the duodenum, and it changes maltose to glucose. Okay, so that's big. And then there's respiration. The importance is supplying oxygen to the cells of the body, and oxygen is essential for cellular respiration. Gas exchange. It takes oxygen from the environment, which is external respiration, and oxygen to and from cells, which is internal respiration. Oxygen diffuses from the alveoli into the capillaries. Carbon dioxide diffuses from capillaries to alveoli up through the respiratory system and is exhaled out. Breathing is taking oxygen from the environment. Inhalation, air entering through nose and mouth. The nose hairs remove foreign particles. The diaphragm moves down the chest. When you breathe in, the volume increases, the pressure drops as the lungs fill with air. And when the diaphragm moves up, the chest volume decreases, pressure increases, and air is expelled. so I know the diagrams. Linings is the trachea is lined by mucus to protect cells. Okay, so now circulation. Yeah, and then we'll stop it. So blood vessels, there's capillaries. So this site is which is the site of diffusion. Blood cells must pass through single file. The lining of capillaries is 1 cell thick, and they're easily damaged. Arteries versus veins. So arteries can carry blood away from the heart. Arteries handle higher blood pressure, and arteries don't have valves. Arteries are circular, and arteries usually have oxygenated blood. Components of blood. Erythrocytes, which are red blood cells. They have hemoglobin to carry more oxygen. They're created in bone marrow. They don't have a nucleus. They have a specialized shape to carry oxygen, and anemia is a lack of hemoglobins. Leukocytes are like white blood cells. They attack foreign invaders by engulfing them. Pus is the leftover of a white blood cell's attack. Platelets help create clotting, and plasma contains essential proteins like albumins, so osmotic balance, globulins, antibodies, and immunity, fibrogens, so for blood clotting. Heart and circuit of blood. The aorta goes to the capillary beds to the right side of the heart, to the pulmonary artery, to the capillary bed of the lungs, to the left side of the heart, to the aorta. Right atrium to right ventricle, to left pulmonary, to right pulmonary, to left atrium, to left ventricle, to arteries. Ardioventricular valves separate the atrium from the ventricle. Semilunar valves go from the ventricle to the arteries. The inferior vena cava comes from the body. The superior vena cava comes from the head. Systemic circuit diffuses blood and gives nutrients to body, and pulmonary circuit gives nutrients to blood. Function is it carries. This is another thing. So function of the circulatory system is it carries nutrients to cells, carries waste away from cells, carries immune cells throughout the body, and oxygen helps break down nutrients carried by blood. There are blood types. So the antigen stimulates production of antibodies. Antibodies are produced by antigens. Antibodies clump to foreign objects and can cause much damage. A and B are blood antigens. O types have no antigens. Someone with A, B, or AB blood cannot give to O. Rhesus factor is Rh negative, have no antigen. Rh positive, have an antigen. Lymphatic, red bone marrow produces the blood, and thymus gland is where T lymphocytes mature and multiply. That's it for this. Next will be genetics, and then we'll move to plants, and then evolution, and I'm done. Nice. Okay.